Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for joining me for what is the final round of the FSR 2023 Pro Championship. We're starting in P10, which is not quite ideal, but we were very close in terms of lap time to pole position. We were less than 3 tenths away from actually getting pole, and I could have gone 2 tenths faster easily, but maybe my setup was a bit too aggressive. I decided to go for low wings to allow some overtaking, and then add a lot of front wing to still be able to make the corners. So it's an aggressive setup, it's easy to make a mistake, to crash, to ruin the tires by sliding. So it's a bit of a risky setup, but then again we are third in the championship, we cannot finish any lower. If we have a good race, Patrick Sevet has a bad race, we can still take second in the championship. So that is what we're aiming for. We're still aiming for that first win. My race pace is looking good. We should be able to overtake. So let's risk it for a biscuit. So lights turn on. Lights off. Alright, here we go. We don't get away quite as well as we would have liked. We've got Van der Niet on the side and yeah. Alright, nothing gained. This is a tricky corner at the start. No contact. Okay, that's surprising starting in the middle of the field, but I'm happy with it as there's some engines smoking. So let's see if people will DNF with blown engines at the end or whether they've had just enough cooling. Yeah, plenty of smoking engines, but we made it. Oh, as Van der Niet. Yeah, there wasn't enough space as there's a car. Oh, on fire. That's Matthewson. He's already blown the engine. What? Okay. Well, I mean, it's Van der Niet then on the inside. There's contact. Okay, so we'll sort of make it through, but yeah, there's more contact there with Van der Niet. Let's take a look at the replay. As Van der Niet looks on the inside and then onto the anti-cut. And there's contact there. Yeah, it's a tricky corner. It always invites ascent, even though there's not often space. And he hits his teammate, Lianos, I believe. Yeah, so not quite ideal, but yeah, basically in terms of the race, nothing really happens for the next 7 laps. So we're at the end of lap 7 and we've been following Soligianis, who's now able to overtake Single, I believe. And we quickly follow because we want to stick with Soligianis. He's a fast driver. He's always good in stars as well as I. Oh, have a bit of oversteer. That's the tricky setup. And now there's a bit of a gap towards Soligianis, so that's not great because now I have to either use some battery to catch up or use up my tires, and I want to do neither because I need both of them at the end. But yeah, it was a mistake, and that's going to cost me a bit to close in this gap because I want to stick with Soligianis because if we can, then surely we can move forward. So at the end of lap 8, we see Soligianis now overtake Leonov, and yeah, we're not gonna be able to overtake him this lap. So again, not ideal because we wanted to stick with him. So let's see how quickly we can overtake Leonov. And we move on to the end of lap 10, and now we're close enough. And the gap for him towards Soligianis is a bit too big, and then we can make the move, but it's a bit tight. Ooh, and I run a bit wide, that's contact there. Nothing too bad, but again, that's the issue with the low wings. It's easy to outbrake yourself, and there's a lot of bumps on the inside of that corner, so I mean, we made it through. There was a slight bit of contact, sorry about that. And we move on to lap 14, and then Soligianis makes another move on Frilic this time. Well, 15 laps in, he's starting to struggle on the hard tires. For us, we want to make him last at least 20 laps, preferably 22. And after 15 laps, he's already struggling. So this is 2 corners later. And oh yeah, these all over the place. Look, his car is moving constantly, so his tires are pretty much gone. And then you get into sort of this death spiral where the tires are worn, so you slide, so they overheat, so they wear, so you slide more, and there's no coming back from there. As we take a look at a replay with my teammate Cameron Roger, who, he loses it, and then, he almost hits Monnier there. We're gonna take a look at his angle, and then, that was close. And in slow motion, that reminds me of Valentino Rossi at the Red Bull Ring a couple of years ago. We move on to lap 17 then. And it's time to overtake Frelick. I can't quite make it work. Ooh, that's not good. Now we both lose time with that failed overtake attempt, and now I have to use my battery again to now make the move, and he almost loses it. That could have taken both of us out. So it could have been a lot worse, that overtake, but could have been a lot better, because now I cost both of us time. I had to waste even more battery than I wanted to, so it's not ideal racing wise, but okay, we make it happen at the end of it. And then on lap 19 we see Fletcher going into the pits. So that's a position for us, and quite an early pit stop for him. Lap 19, and we want to make it a bit longer, and Zaludjanis has the same idea. And he's someone who's good on his tires, as I said, so yeah, we could have stayed out longer, but at the end of lap 21 we actually make the pit stop to try and actually get an undercut, because I was closing in on him. I was feeling good, but I thought, let's pit now and then get the free undercut, you know, having overtaken him without wasting battery, and then just make the tires last one lap longer. And as you can see, a lot of other guys had the same idea to pit on this lap. So yeah, we're gonna have to see how it works out. I also wanted to show you guys the pit exit, because look at how bumpy it is and how close you have to get to the wall. And then you go on throttle hill, but you can't go full throttle or you'll slam into the wall. So it's quite a tricky exit. And then, well, there's no one behind, but there's Gavin Morville in front of us. And that's not great, because he's on all tires. And we want to make this this undercut work. So he's going to hold us up this lap, and that's going to cost us a bit of time. Which, well, I'm not happy about, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Let's at least save some battery behind him, charge it for perhaps a later overtake. You know, make the best of what we've got. Let's get as close as possible, and then we'll overtake him on the main straight. As then, yeah, oh, his tires are gone. He's running wide there, and then it does allow us to close in, but it's costing time. And here in dirty air, that's not great. As oh, it's me making a mistake, and he loses the rear. So yeah, we're both going suboptimally, but yeah, I get a good toe in the slipstream. Then we use the battery. Yeah, do I want to go outside, inside? There's opportunity to go inside, so let's go. Can't quite take my normal line here. I would have cut him off, so yeah, that's a bit more time that I've lost. But in the meantime, I expected Zaludjanis to pit at this point, but he's staying out. So how long does he stay out? Well, we start lap 24, and there you see him going through that difficult pit exit, and crap. We're side by side, so I use a bit of boost to sort of try it, but then yeah, he's gonna have the inside line, so it's not gonna work, and then he runs me off the track a little bit, but we make it work. No incident there, but I'm a bit annoyed here, because not only are my tires now 2 laps older, and the undercut didn't work because I'm behind him, he's on the mediums, and he will be able to pull away. So that's, I believe it's Meunier, who is there, who hasn't pitted yet, so he's quite slow, and then Zaludjanis is able to make the move, and I go for half a dive. I get given the space, but it's not ideal. Oh, and the situation gets worse. So, as I said, my tires are now older. They're slower because they're on the hards, and he's got the mediums. He's got clean air to make use of those mediums and push. And now with this traffic, who's going to pit this lap? And we now also have a gap, so I was thinking, you know, maybe he's got the faster tires, but if I can slipstream, use DRS, I can stick with him and actually take advantage of his speed. But now the gap is too big, so I get nothing at all. You know, my tires are older, slower, there's no DRS to follow him in, so yeah, suboptimal. And we're just gonna have to make lemonade with the lemons that we've been given. So he's gonna pull away now, but the mediums, they are difficult to manage here. So likely he will drop off later on, as we now get a nice overview with, well, Fletcher in the lead, who had a really good qualifying, and so far, halfway into the race, he's been doing well. And then that's the top 3, and then it's us following. And then there's another group of 3 following us. So it's a nice overview, but yeah, you can see those leaders driving there at the front, and I wanted to be part of it, and surely with a better qualifying position I would have been right in there looking good. But yeah, it's even off now, closing in on Fletcher, and Sevet hanging in there nicely as well. And it's Barbakov who is slowly starting to drop towards Salagianis. And as you can see, lap 32, so basically 10 laps into the stint, I'm now starting to close in on Salagianis. As Ivanov makes a move on Fletcher, and that's tight, that's tight. Ooh, okay, they make it through. Let's see who's gonna make it out on top. So it's Fletcher's got the inside line and Ivanov on the outside. He's getting the better exit, maybe using more battery. And it's Ivanov who now takes the lead from Fletcher. And on lap 34, it's Sevet who also overtakes Fletcher. So perhaps he's struggling with his tires a little bit. Not sure. And then in a group behind, it's... yeah, I'm getting really close to Salagianis. So his mediums are starting to go off. And both of us are catching Barbikov. And then it's Sevet who's really on the move. One lap later is... Ooh, that's tight. Is able to overtake Ivanov. So from third to first in only a couple of laps time. And yeah, as I said, it's all... You know, the groups of 3 are converging. And it's lap 36 where I now make the move on Salagianis. So he's struggling on his tires too much. And this is where the hearts come into play. This is what I was hoping for. I could have overtaken him earlier, probably had I been in his slipstream, but as you saw, the traffic made that impossible. So it's lap 39, and we now close in on Barbikov. And yeah, he's also not having great pace on his tires. And you can actually see, if you look far in front, that's where Fletcher is. So not only did he lose the lead and second, but he's also lost the connection to the front two. So yeah, we make the move on Barbikov. His mediums are also going off at this point. Very understandably so. And it's Fletcher there, who's also struggling on his tires. So surely we can just close in as much as we can. As he, yeah, his tires are older because of his early pit stop. So he has to pit again earlier. And we stay out for a little bit. And then it's, I mean, we're in well, after our pit stop that we're about to make, we'll be in P4, right behind P3, which is Fletcher. And looking at how much he's struggling on his tires, he's going to go on the mediums for the final stint, as will I. And then we take a look at this tricky pit exit again. And yeah, you can see Fletcher there. And it's Barbikov who, well, is in front of us again because of the earlier pit stop. So yeah, we're going to have to overtake Barbikov as quickly as possible. And then let's see if we can overtake Fletcher. Because so far in this race, we've seen him not being as good on the tires. In previous races, he was also a bit worse on tires than I was. And he's going to have to go longer on the mediums, which are difficult to manage. So yes, the gap is quite a few seconds at this point. But for sure we're going to be able to catch him. And then we're going to have to fight hard to overtake him. But I'm smelling a podium here from P10 on the grid. So we're going to have to overtake Barbikov as fast as possible. So we're going to get onto the straight. And this is going to be a really good opportunity to do so with our low wings. We've had our issues with the low wings. They've not been ideal throughout the race. But it's these moments where they do make overtaking, well, almost easy. And we're going to get some more overviews as it's Sevet who has pulled a gap. And it's Ivanov overtaking Fletcher here, who now has Sevet to catch up to. And then it's me in front of Barbikov. So I've got a bit of a gap to close in towards Fletcher. Perhaps even Ivanov and Sevet. Who knows? Lap 48, you can see these gaps sort of forming. So Ivanov is going really, really fast. And Barbikov and me... Barbikov is actually able to keep up with me quite nicely. So basically my plan was to push a bit harder, make sure he doesn't get DRS, and then hopefully we can pull a gap. But so far Barbikov is able to keep DRS and therefore able to keep up with me. So yeah, we're going to have to break him a little bit and then close into onto Fletcher. As now it's Ivanov who's closed in the gap quite quickly to Sevet. And he's able to, yeah, take the lead from Sevet. So that's really well done. And let's see if he's able to keep it. But very good pace from Ivanov again. And it's yeah, lap 55. And actually, yeah, so we've gotten a bit of a gap towards Barbikov. So this gap will start going quickly. And I am closing in on Fletcher. Not as fast as I would like, but we are catching. And actually we were catching towards the leaders as well. So our pace is really good. But by now the gap is too big to fight for the victory. So it's going to be, you know, the podium is going to be the maximum, P3. And at this point, yeah, I'm pushing really hard to close in. Because after this, we've got 1 lap to go. So I want to catch up to Fletcher, overtaking on the straight into turn 1. And then have 1 lap to keep that gap and get the podium. But I've been pushing quite hard on these mediums. And as you can see, the car is sliding quite a lot. So the tires are pretty much finished, which means that I don't have much of an advantage towards Fletcher. So probably this stint, this entire season, I've managed the tires the worst of all my stints. So normally I'm really good on the tires, but maybe I was pushing too hard, wanting it too much. 15 laps on these mediums is quite long, and I don't know. So I'm not able to make the move, and now it's the final lap. I've got some battery left, but I don't have tires left, so it's gonna be difficult. And yeah, I'm too far here to make the overtake into turn 4. So the only chance I've got is to push as hard as I can, get as close as I can. Oh, and you can see the car sliding. Like the fronts are gone, the rears are gone. Just the car has become a death trap with the low wings. It's really difficult to drive, but it's all or nothing. So I push as hard as I can, and then yeah, you can see the car moving. But I have to get close. I have to get within slipstream. I have to get DRS and then use all my battery in the main straight to hopefully overtake him before we get to the finish line. You can see I'm losing the car going into the corner, coming out of the corner, and I almost lose it here. Oh, that would have been a big crash. Oh, now the gap is too big. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I've got battery left. I'm going to get a bit of slipstream as Ivanov wins very impressively once again. But this gap is too big. We had the speed, but I didn't manage my tires correctly. And now I couldn't get the exit. And man. P4. As I just run off the track, and I mean, come on. This race sums up the season basically. We qualify poorly, and then even then there's the potential position that we're just not able to get. So it's yeah, sums up the season, and I'm disappointed. Even though I probably shouldn't be, because to start P10, finish in P4, really close to the podium, be really fast out on track once again, you know, those are a lot of positives. I finished P3 in the final standings, which is also good. It's just not as good as it probably could have and should have been, so it's mixed feelings. I guess I'll just need to take some time to reflect on how the season went, where I can improve and do better next year, basically. And who knows, there could be some fun events during the winter where I can have some fun and practice some stuff. And I mean, you know, maybe you'll see some more videos coming up, and for sure when next season starts I will be there and I will be making videos, and hopefully I'll see you guys there.